Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, our mission today is pretty straightforward. We've got this massive intelligence haul on, well, a desperate war, and we need to pull out the really crucial game-changing stuff. We're diving right into a major galactic conflict, zeroing in on two critical missions happening at the same time. These basically decided the fate of the entire Galactic Alliance.
That's exactly right. We're looking at two crises that are really converging. First, there's this long, really complex hunt for the legendary living planet. Zonama Sekot is supposed to hold the key, to giving the Alliance a huge tech advantage.
Okay, the living planet, got it.
And then at the same time, there's this absolutely desperate close quarters fight going on. They're trying to restore the communications network at the Esfandia relay base way out there. It's under a massive Yuuzhan Vong assault.
Right, and as you hinted, this isn't just your standard war story, is it?
Yeah.
It's not all starfighters and grand fleets.
Not at all. To really get what's happening, you have to look beyond the obvious battles. We're talking ancient prophecies, alliances that seem, well, impossible between governments. There's psychological warfare, and this incredible bit of cloak and dagger intelligence work that hinges on basically being ignored.
Being ignored. Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's unpack this. Where do we start? Maybe with that shadow war you mentioned.
Let's start with Han Solo. He's following a lead, ends up at this notorious bar, the Thorny Toe on Onydex. He's trying to find contacts, people in the Rin network.
Ah, the Rin, okay.
So the sources say he, classic Han, wins a game fair and square against a Rurian, feeling pretty confident.
Which usually leads to trouble.
Immediately gets him shoved into a back room by this huge whiffed bouncer, and that's actually where the real mission kicks off.
Right, not just a bar brawl then.
No, because the person waiting for him isn't just some bar owner. They're using a voice modulator, hiding their identity, but they know everything. Han's finances, his gambling tells, down to the exact route he planned to take to Nelfris.
The long way around, wasn't it? To avoid the Vong.
Precisely. This isn't just local gossip someone picked up. This is high-level intelligence.
Okay, so who is this person? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Exactly. The person behind the modulator, the one who kind of engineered the whole scuffle just to get Han alone, and then starts this huge bar riot to cover both their tracks.
Uh-huh.
It turns out to be Droma.
Droma. A Rin.
Not just a Rin. Droma is the leader, the sort of central hub for the entire Rin network. And what's really fascinating is how Droma built this intelligence operation.
Because the Rin are usually seen as, wanderers, stowaways.
Exactly. Perpetual wanderers, traitors, sometimes just unlucky stowaways. They're traditionally dismissed by pretty much everyone, ignored by all the major powers.
Which sounds like a massive disadvantage.
You'd think so. But Droma turned that completely on its head, brilliantly exploited being ignored. The Rin move everywhere, constantly, across all sectors, deep core, unknown regions, and nobody pays them any attention.
So they're the perfect spies?
Who better to gather information than the people nobody bothers watching? It's this huge strategic shift, taking what everyone thought was a weakness and turning it into this incredible intelligence asset.
And they desperately needed that intel. Because while Han's off doing that, and the Jedi are searching for Sekot out in the unknown regions, the main part of the galaxy is basically flying blind.
Completely blind. The comms grid is shattered, Generous Station is destroyed, and Esfandia is under this relentless, brutal Yuuzhan Vong assault. That's what cut the search team off from Alliance Command. Total blackout.
Which forces this political situation that nobody could have imagined just the year before, right? This grand alliance at Esfandia.
Unprecedented is the word. Our sources confirm it. You've got Imperial forces led by the legend himself, Grand Admiral Pellaeon.
Pellaeon working with the Alliance. Wow.
And Chiss forces, too. Colonel Jagfel's elite Twin Sun squadron is there, plus Galactic Alliance ships like the Corellian frigate Pride of Salonia. It's an absolutely wild mix.
The political tension must have been immense. How did Pellaeon handle commanding that kind of volatile group?
Well, it shows why he's a Grand Admiral. He doesn't just throw ships at the problem. His focus is tactical, yes, but also psychological. He tells the fleet, coordinate your strikes, but prioritize chaos. And attack the enemy commander, Vorik, mentally.
Attack his mind. Ow.
Disrupt their coordination first. The Vong rely heavily on their Yamsk war coordinators, right? So Pellaeon uses Yamsk jammers. Throws their command structure into chaos.
Okay, makes sense.
But maybe more importantly, he knows Vorik, the Vong commander there, is arrogant. So Pellaeon focuses attacks that bruise Vorik's ego, make him reactive, emotional, force mistakes. That's a more reliable weakness than just trying to blast through their regenerative ships.
Clever. And while all this massive fleet action is happening, there's another kind of psychological mission going on, isn't there? With Tahiri.
Yes, Tahiri. Her situation was incredibly complex. Her mind had been fractured by that Vong-shaping implant, creating the Rena personality.
Right, the internal conflict.
But here, in the middle of this battle, she somehow manages to integrate. The Tahiri and Rena personas merge into a single, new, unified individual. It's a really profound personal moment happening amidst total chaos.
And this new, unified Tahiri has a plan.
A brilliant one, drawing on all that deep, intimate Vong knowledge she now possesses, partly thanks to Rena. She pulls off this incredible strategic deception.
What does she do?
She contacts Commander Vorik, the Vong leader Pelion is trying to mess with. She convinces Vorik she's ready to betray the Jedi. She argues she needs to get down to the surface to, finalize her defection.
That's unbelievably risky. They can just shoot her down.
It's a huge gamble, but she plays it perfectly. She even renames her ship the Collaborator. The Vong, convinced they've turned a Jedi, completely buy it. They just log her ship as incoming Vong debris or something minor and let her slip right through their planetary defenses.
Wow. Okay, so Tahiri's on her way down. Meanwhile, up in orbit, Colonel Jag Fenn, the Chiss pilot, is pulling off something pretty insane too, right?
Oh, absolutely extreme. A maneuver that sounds almost impossible. He takes his clawcraft inside a crippled Vong gunship that's already caught in a tractor beam.
Wait, inside the enemy ship?
Yeah.
While it's breaking apart, why?
From inside, he uses his ship's cutting lasers to strategically strip mass off the failing gunship. He's intentionally accelerating its collapse, but in a controlled way.
To what end?
He essentially turns the massive wreck into a guided kinetic weapon, a surprise missile made of debris. He directs it to slam right into the northern flank of the Vong defensive line.
Creating an opening.
Exactly the opening the Alliance fleet needed. I mean, the level of piloting skill and sheer calculated risk involved, it's just jaw-dropping.
But success always seems to come at a cost in this war. When Han and Leia finally make it down to the surface, it's not straightforward, is it?
No, their landing is incredibly dangerous. They touch down in this featureless orange fog is how the sources describe Esfandia's surface. They're looking for the communication center.
And they find they're not alone.
Right. They discover these indigenous life forms, shaped like flowers, called the Burbropip, and they communicate, but it's complex.
How so?
Turns out their language is based on trinary code. Not just binaries, ones and zeros, but a third state, too, like a neither unknown value. It takes their droid translator a while to figure it out.
And when it does,
that's when the shock hits. The translation reveals the unintended consequences of their arrival.
what do they do?
Just landing the Falcon, the heat from the engines, maybe some stray weapons fired during the descent or securing the landing zone. It accidentally killed 15 of the Burbropip.
Oh, no.
So in the eyes of these locals, the heroes who just arrived, the potential saviors, they look like murderers.
That's awful. How does Leia react?
It forces this immediate, really visceral ethical choice. Even though restoring communications is critical for the whole war effort, her priority instantly shifts to the innocent lives they just accidentally harmed.
So the mission changes.
Completely. She has them transmit a false beacon, deliberately drawing the remaining Vong forces away from the main Burlet nesting planes. Protecting the locals becomes more important than the immediate tactical goal. It really highlights the difference between the Alliance's values and the Vong's.
A huge sacrifice, but understandable. Okay, so that operation, costly as it was, eventually succeeds in restoring communications, which clears the way for us to focus on that other major mission, the hunt for Zonama Sekot.
Yes, the Jedi search team. They finally track down the living planet, and it turns out Sauron Higgery's hypothesis was right. The whole region was basically cut off from normal space.
No.
Apparently, a dark matter cluster collision created this massive gravitational bubble, making it undetectable from the real universe, as the source puts it.
And arriving there wasn't exactly smooth sailing either.
Definitely not. The logs mention the entire crew experiencing this profound, massive psychic disturbance as they entered the system. Proof you're not in Kansas anymore, so to speak.
And they meet the inhabitants.
They do. The Pharaohans, sometimes called Zonamans, but they're immediately suspicious of the Jedi. Deeply suspicious.
Why? But do they have a history with Jedi?
They have a history with outsiders causing trouble. They confirm their isolation is intentional. They detail 3 previous attacks or invasions, twice by the far outsiders, who we know are the Yuuzhan Vong.
And the third time.
That's the kicker. The third invasion was by forces of the Old Republic, led by a commander Tarkin.
Tarkin. The same Tarkin.
Seems so. That attack is what forced the entire planet to perform the crossings, to literally flee into the deepest parts of the unknown regions. They ran because of Republic aggression.
That puts the Jedi visit in a very awkward light.
Extremely. And it gets even more complicated, especially for Luke. The Pharaohs reveal more of their history, including a visit from his own father decades ago.
Anakin Skywalker visited Zonama Sekot.
He did. And when he was there, he bonded with the planet to help create a living ship. But instead of the usual 3 Pharaohan seed partners, he bonded with 12.
12. What does that even mean?
Well, the seed partners help guide the ship's growth through their connection. 12 suggests the incredible power Anakin already possessed back then. His sheer force potential must have been off the charts.
But there's a dark side to that power, isn't there?
There is. The Pharaohs recount an incident. Anakin killed an assassin who threatened him, but he did it purely with the strength of his mind, fueled by anger.
And the Pharaohs were okay with that?
Interestingly, yes. They saw it as protective, a necessary use of power in the moment. They didn't condemn it. But Luke and Mara Jade, hearing the story, they immediately recognize it.
As the dark side.
Plain as day, the power of the dark side manifesting through raw, unchecked emotion. It's a chilling reminder of Anakin's path.
So this whole history, the suspicion, the revelation about Anakin, it all sets the stage for the planet's big decision, doesn't it?
It does. Sekot finally reveals itself, appearing as an image of a boy, but also reminiscent of Roger, the Jedi who spent time with the Vong.
And Sekot has bad news.
It admits its sanctuary, its hidden nature, is basically over. Irreparably shattered is the phrase used. A Vong scout ship escaped during a recent encounter and will report the planet's location. Hiding isn't an option anymore.
So what's the alternative?
Sekot offers a radical one. It's tired of being hunted, tired of being prey. The planet offers to actively join the war.
How? By fighting.
By providing the Galactic Alliance with weapons, biological weapons specifically, and living starships. All reverse-engineered from Vong technology they've captured or analyzed over the years, they can essentially turn the Vong's greatest strength against them.
That's huge. That could win the war.
It absolutely could. But it comes with this enormous, monstrous moral dilemma. And this is where we see that central, terrible split among the Jedi who are there.
Luke and Jason, right?
Exactly. Luke, who's seen so much death, lost his own son recently, and truly believes the galaxy faces annihilation. He accepts Sekot's offer. He sees it as necessary. A terrible necessity, perhaps, but the only way to salvation. Pure pragmatism.
But Jason disagrees.
Strongly. Jason, still very much the idealist, refuses outright. He's horrified. He fears that accepting this kind of power, weapons designed for potential genocide, that it will inevitably corrupt them, drag the Jedi down the path of the dark side.
He thinks it betrays what his father stood for.
That's exactly his argument. That it would make a mockery of everything my father stood for, referring to both the Jedi hero Anakin was and the redeemed man Vader became. It's a betrayal of that entire legacy in his eyes.
It's like the entire Skywalker family drama playing out right there. Luke risking corruption to save everyone, Jason saying the salvation isn't worth it if they become monsters.
Precisely. It's the core ethical conflict laid bare. And it's worth remembering, just as context, while this huge moral choice is happening for the Jedi, the Vong themselves aren't monolithic.
What do you mean?
Well, elsewhere, we see figures like Nom-Enor, working in disguise as the Prophet Yuuzhan, actually succeeding in causing chaos within the Vong hierarchy. He's using agents, spreading lies, turning Supreme Overlord Shurma against his own loyal commanders like High Prefect Drothel.
So the Vong aren't unbreakable either. They're vulnerable to internal strife, to psychological tactics.
Exactly. Which just adds another layer to the Jedi's dilemma about how to fight them. Do they use overwhelming, potentially corrupting force, or do they try to find another way?
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. What does this all mean for the galaxy at this point in the war?
Well, you have these two incredibly complex situations basically resolving at the same time and feeding into each other. The communications blackout at Esfandia, it was broken, but only through sheer necessity, forcing together that volatile alliance Imperials, Chiss, GA, and relying on critical intelligence from unexpected sources like the Rin network, plus Tahiri's incredibly risky psychological gamble.
So necessity forged strange alliances and demanded desperate measures on one front.
Right. And simultaneously, on the other front, the potential key to actually winning the war, Zonama Sekot's living technology, is secured. but only because Luke made a choice that forces the Jedi to confront the immense ethical cost of wielding that kind of power. A choice that honestly threatens to tear the Jedi Order apart from the inside, just as much as the Vong threaten it from the outside.
It's quite an irony, isn't it? The alliance is formed at Esfandia between old enemies like Pelion and Leia's alliance forces. They seem just as volatile, just as necessary for survival as the potentially corrupting power offered by Zonama Sekot.
That's a great way to put it. Both solutions involved trusting something or someone that seemed fundamentally untrustworthy purely out of desperation.
A gamble on every front.
Which leaves us with maybe one final provocative thought for you to consider. Remember the Pharaohans on Zonama Sekot. Their initial suspicion based on their own history was that conflict just seems to follow the Jedi wherever they go.
Right, because of Tarkin and maybe even Anakin's actions.
So if the Jedi do use Sekot's devastating weapons, if they embrace this power to eradicate the Vong, does the living planet itself, Zonama Sekot, become the next step in its own evolution? Does it transform from being hunted, from being easy prey, into becoming the hunter?